Hey, it's Duve. You probably already know that Sony released this limited edition, really beautiful retro collection that we all knew would be picked up by scalpers. What you might not know is that you can find fake controller shells on AliExpress, not just for this one, but for many other limited edition controllers that Sony has released in the past. So I bought one for around 13 US dollars, 17 if you include the shipping cost to Malaysia. Wasn't sure how it would turn out, what the imperfections would be, how it would feel. But now that I got it, I'm pretty impressed, actually. There were a couple of things I was worried about when buying this thing, and the main one was the PlayStation logo, mainly because in all the listings they were blurred for obvious reasons, and all the review photos are pretty low res, so I couldn't get a feel for how accurate they actually were. Another concern, well, maybe not really a concern, because I expected that this cheap, fake China controller shells wouldn't have the iconic X circle, square, triangle texture at the back of it, but to my surprise, it actually does. Now I can't really show you because I don't really have the lens to zoom in on something that small, so you kind of just have to take my word for it. But this is what the back looks like. So you can see that it has all the text back here. It says PlayStation 30th anniversary. It even has the Sony logo. So the shell actually has all the details actually the original controller as well. So that was one of my concerns gone out the window. But what about the PlayStation logo? How accurate is it? Is it perfect? Unfortunately, no. At least not for mine. This is what the logo looks like, and it looks pretty good. Again, this is the closest I can get with my camera and keep it in focus. I think the exact shade of the colors look perfect, so no problems there. But can you see the slight problem from this shot? There's just a little bit too much yellow at this one part. From browsing through Reddit and seeing other people post the exact same set that they bought from AliExpress and asking them how theirs are, they all said that theirs were perfect. So it's a question mark on the quality control part of things, but there is a chance that if you do buy the same set, you can get a good one. So maybe in this case, I'm just slightly unlucky. So it can be hit or miss. Maybe, I'm not sure. It was a small sample size with only two Redditors that had perfect controllers, and then mine that was slightly off. So 1 out of 3. Small sample size. If I really cared, there are options to fix it. A really popular option even before this retro collection came out is to just buy stickers for it. This seems to be a good, cheap option that's been popular for years. Or if you want to spend a little bit more, there are sellers on Etsy that sell the actual buttons. So that could be an option if you got a flawed logo like me. One final flaw with the controllers, which you might not have noticed unless you're really familiar with what the original one looks like, is that the face buttons are all black rather than dark gray. So that includes the face buttons here and the trigger buttons as well. This is something that personally I don't really mind. It actually took me a while to even notice it was different because I don't actually have the original one in real life. I think they look pretty nice, but if you're hoping for it to look exactly like the original, you'll probably be disappointed. Overall, quality-wise, I don't really have any issues. The plastic feels the same as the original. There are no obvious gaps anywhere, not with the touchpad, not with the space between the front and back. I even tried shaking my controller and tried to see if there's any difference in rattling noise between this one and an original controller. I think it's fine. The internals are all from an original controller, so all the buttons work perfectly, of course. This is just the shell. So I don't really have any other issues other than the PlayStation logo, which was not perfect for mine, but was perfect for the other people on Reddit. So TLDR, if you bought it now, there's a risk that the PlayStation logo might be slightly off, and the face buttons are just completely different because it's black rather than dark gray. But other than that, everything's fine. But even regarding the face buttons, actually, there's a possibility that they could update it in the future. I'm not sure. It's just me theorizing because they don't really have a customer support email address for me to contact. But when I tried to look for this shell on AliExpress even a few months ago, the face buttons didn't have any color originally. The back was empty without any text, and the logo was atrocious. And fast forward to today, a lot has changed. So who knows? They could update it in the future. I'm not sure. It's February 2025, so it might change, it might not. But what you get right now, for me, is pretty good. So if you do want to modify your controller and do this, but you've never opened up a controller before, it's pretty simple, but there is one part where you have to be extra careful, and that's when you want to flip the motherboard. You need to do this to access the screws underneath, but there are 4 cables soldered to the motherboard for the vibration motors. I wasn't careful, kind of took it easy, and one of it came off. If that happens, you need to solder it back, which could be much more of a hassle than what you signed up for. But if you are going through the hassle of taking apart your controller anyway, I would recommend looking into changing your analog sticks to using Halifax or TMR sensors. If you don't know what they are, TLDR, you will never get stick drift with these, unlike the original sensors that comes with the controllers. A TMR is the newer, more accurate, and uses less power version of these sensors. You can learn more about it here from these two iFixit videos to start if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Also, I just want to say I fully support them complaining about these billion-dollar companies selling expensive controllers that are designed to fail. And if you're wondering which one to buy, I went with the Jinful V5s from AliExpress, which you can learn more about from Metal Plastic Electronics, which is a pretty cool YouTube channel. That's it really. Thanks for watching all the way till the end. Like, wow, why are you still here? I'm kidding. Thanks, I really appreciate it. And Lahu says that if you want to see more of him, you gotta subscribe.